lights and everything, after everything ready to go. Nobody came.
It's funny, because I teach four the bar classes,
I'm
and I
gonna
have
call
people
it
switch
order.
order.
It's four
I
oh
would say
three,
three.
so we'll call it order at 4:03.
But then I have to tell everybody. It's gonna be cancellation. I have to tell them.
And
Spend everybody, right?
asking for attendance, I think we kind of went around and I got it with names. So any citizens petitions, comments or concerns that we need to talk about? Can you hear us, Matt?
Yes, I can hear you all clearly, and greetings to my friends.
Thank
That
you.
means you guys.
Does anyone have any communications from the table? No. So that leaves minutes from December 5th. And I know, Tom, you gave me a couple of comments on email that I didn't correct, but any other comments? I think that one's for you. Any comments on the minutes? Okay. Okay. So do you want to motion for the minutes? So moved.
Second.
And happy. Say aye.
Aye.
Move to, of course, Avalonia. Who'd like to-
I
Anyone?
can go ahead and do that. So this act, if where they are putting in the new, or proposing a development, right along Gold Star Highway, it's just to the east of, the office park. And it's, four separate properties that are being put together. A bunch of it's on a ledge that's just above an Avalonia property, so the Leo Antonino Preserve. And the preserve, that area, there's a trail that goes right by, which is nice, and the developers are actually excited about this whole thing. But then it goes right down a hill to a large wetland swamp. And they are going to be above it with hard surface, lots of room, 5 huge buildings, parking to go with. The nice thing is they are talking to Avalonia, talking about how this could. Is that fine?
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So they're actually willing to talk to us. They're willing to talk about putting in natives, things like that. We are going to, Avalonia's going to need to look at, you know, probably improving some of the trails, because everybody with a dog there is going to walk with the dog. And all the kids and all the everybody, which will be great. But it's just something where they're keeping in touch. And again, the great thing is the developer seems very willing to include Avalonia in the conversation.
Have they got a site plan yet? Or
They're getting pretty close, and it's, you know, P and Z is the next stop.
I would recommend, just as a reference, Steve Trinkhouse is an expert on low impact development. And if you have concerns about the adequacy of the engineered parts for the runoff and stuff,
All right, that,
he's a good one. Have him take a look at this and tell us, you know,
I'll.
tell us what you think.
I'll send you a message and get that name, so.
Okay.
But thank you. Yeah, their last one, just basically, the last developer pretty much dumped all the water into this one.
And without, a lot of it is, as Steve says, comes off the shelf and it's outdated engineering.
Yes.
It's, you know, but he can look at it quite quickly and say, this isn't gonna work.
Actually, they didn't give me it.
So no draft site plan has been presented yet?
Not
yet.
being.
It's being reviewed. It's in review right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Steve Trinkos, Trinkaus. It's like Trinkos Engineering. LLC.
okay.
Anything else from Avalonia?
No, but thank you.
Cop property, I can at least say that we are, working on, so we have bids that have come in for the recreational trails grant that we got the 140,000 for. to do the visually impaired and accessible trails. We went out on a site walk with folks that bid and we got our bids back. We are looking at them now. It looks like the bids came in quite high. I spoke to Kim Bradley from Deep and she's the grants administrator. She said that that's been happening every year. But she's happy to work with us. We just have to document the process. It may be slightly less linear feet than we wanted, but we can apply to future rounds. So that's what's going to happen. Another exciting thing that happened was today we had a meeting with folks from southeastern Connecticut.
Seacog?
No, Seacog, it's the visually impaired folks. I forget the acronym. Anyway.
Lighthouse, not the lighthouse.
No, it wasn't Southeast Connecticut Institute for the Blind, or I apologize, it's the first time I met with you. But they were great and they gave us a lot of good guidance on signage and what we can do out there for visually impaired folks, you know, things like tactile maps. We have the soundscape software that will work with you with an app that we've tried, but for doing that alongside things that, you know, they can touch and hear in the environment. So that was a really good conversation to get. So,
Question for you.
yes.
When this first was raised, this possibility was raised a year and a half or so ago, if I remember correctly. There had been some interest expressed by one of the teachers at Fitch to try to see if we can engage some kids, if there was any social community activity to, you know, develop our future citizens. Whether that would be physical labor or whether it be developing some communication materials or something else you could imagine. But one of the things we're trying to do is to strengthen our development of the kids, not only in their academics, but in becoming participatory citizens. So if you can think of an age appropriate role for some sophomores, juniors, or seniors, give it some thought. I can promise nothing because I speak for nobody other than just sitting on the board with 8 others. But I know I would be very glad to advocate for an appropriate student involvement.
That's a wonderful idea. Thank you for entering that in. And I hadn't heard that previous conversation, but I think that it makes a lot of sense. And go Groton kids. We're supposed to be here tonight, so would have been a nice synergy, but we'll keep that in mind as we move forward.
Thanks a lot.
They could, I could see a student project being a smelling garden or tactile garden for the blind, you know, like coming up with a list of plants in an area. They could actually develop a whole little thing.
Yeah, that might even fit in with Ernie's work with the greenhouses. So, you know, if we don't throw up some mud towards the wall, we won't know if some would stick. So let's see whom we can attract.
So who has the contact with these?
Well, you said the guy in the greenhouse. Seems like
Guy, Ernie?
Ernie Kochmeider. Oh gosh. Kochmeiders. Koschmeider, kind of, sort of. He's physically located at Mary Morrison. He runs the food service program.
Oh, okay. I will reach out to him.
And they just, as you probably did know, they just did the ribbon cutting for our new indoor greenhouse, which is producing adequate amounts of lettuce to feed all the kids. And we'll be able to be doing that hydroponically through the winter. So there is, and the individual schools also have greenhouses. So I'm not quite sure what the marriage is, but
We can start the conversation. Yeah.
absolutely.
Good. So, Crosstown. So I wanted to just touch on the potential grant opportunity on the Crosstown Trail. So there's a Connecticut DOT grant coming up called the Community Connectivity Grant. So what we showed you at the last meeting with the signage and for crosstown trail. So it would be pavement markings, signage, and then interpretive kiosks, so about 16 interpretive kiosks. And it comes out to about 120,000. So we're going to be looking for that money from DOT. It seems like it would be a slam dunk from DOT for this particular program. The grant's due in early May. And I was going to solicit all of you for letters of support, so that will be coming. So this is really an opportunity for you to ask me questions about it.
Is this federal funding pass
This is
through?
Connecticut DOT funding, which I believe,
That connected to federal funding?
I think it is connected to federal funding, but the transportation funding has not been
Mine
confirmed
are,
at
yeah,
this
mine are
point.
allocated.
It might be already
Mine are
allocated.
From the Fed, so it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's. so it's
Okay,
then
maybe committed.
Connecticut has to distribute it.
Yeah, so I can find out if it is I mean, most of the DOT funding is passed to.
Yeah.
Transportation money
Yeah.
works that way.
Just everything seems up in the air.
Understood. But we're gonna try to.
Yeah, well, assume it's gonna happen.
All right, no other questions. I'm moving along. GOSA.
Okay, I guess. We don't have much on the way of trail wise, but there's been an improvement of access. Just the muddy area in our Avery Farm North parking lot has been paved or at least fit with millings. And we're working on trails for the Center Groton Preserve. We still have to work on the surveys. There's always new surprises that we're dealing with. So, but there are existing trails there now that can be used. We're just not mapping them and signing them with Blake. Center Groton Preserve. You can.
1425 North Road.
Right, you can access it through 1425 North Road and also from the power line at the end of Martin Lane or from Avery Farm or Candlewood Ridge. They're all interconnected, so depending on how far you want to walk.
1425.
Yeah, that'll get you right up.
North Road.
Right,
It's a private, it looks like a private driveway, but it's a joint driveway.
yeah, yeah, it's right opposite, look for as you're going north on the Cooper Tree sign on the left, and it's right opposite from that.
Fire hydrant there too.
So if I could just add, we're also looking at putting in a trail from the Phillips Ave parking, which is, you know, kind of sort of behind the Shore Appliance, sort of that area. So it's all Candlewood Road. So going north to pretty much connect with Fire Road, it comes from 1425. But that would give really nice access to that Center Groton area, which has some of the really dense housing. You know, mobile home
Mobile
parks,
homes and
things like
others,
that.
yeah,
You know, an area that could really use this.
but it's not ready yet.
No.
You have to bushwhack. So I wouldn't recommend you start there yet,
But
right?
just, you know,
It's
looking
coming, it's
ahead.
coming. Right.
it's planned for this year.
Maybe,
When the surveys get done.
yeah.
Once the survey.
Well, the surveys, we have like some deed issues. There's all kinds of stuff. They're gonna have to change the GIS map for that whole area. I mean,
It'll be
like
interesting.
Pandora's
And
box.
this has all got to be done because it's all, to get the state money in place. Because they're gonna put a conservation easement on it. That's, get to go through all this before we can put up signage.
Well, it's good due diligence.
Yeah.
We have a terrific surveyor who's found all these discrepancies going back to the 1600s. Right. Steve Marion. Marion, and I recommend him.
Star survey.
Always good to know.
Yeah.
No, that
Yeah.
one's.
Well.
We have
just-
our own, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other thing is he's really not looking for new business either.
It could be, well, yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, it's like a good babysitter, you know, you maybe you don't want to share, right?
He only does special.
Thank you. Town trails, so we have a special guest tonight, Marilyn. So she's gonna speak a little bit about the Pequot Woods interpretive signage. It's in the packet that I sent out, but print. They did print a couple of little. Oh, so this is the one.
Starting to that.
I just came out of the.
Yeah, they, I.
So Goldsmith,
Oh, so
so we're looking, I'll just introduce you. So, this comes out of a proposal from the Historical Society to install a interpretive sign in the plot where they believe the homestead of Jonathan Jesse Wheeler. So you can speak.
Yeah, well, this started, I had a conversation with Greg a couple of years ago, I guess. And I was telling him there's an old stone foundation in the Pequot Woods that was a house. And Jonathan Jesse Wheeler lived there, we think between 1850 and 1890, and then it burned down. And I said to him one day, the Historical Society knows whose house that is, because we published a diary, the Helen Clark diary in 1998, and she lived in Mystic. She was born in 1905, and she started a diary when she was 10. And she wrote about living in Mystic, and she used to walk in the Pequot Woods all the time. She had this whole story about Jonathan Jesse. We had to discover that his last name is Wheeler, and she just calls him Jonathan Jesse. But he, and she describes walking through the Pequot Woods and all of this. And I grew up right near there. And I used to walk through the woods all the time when I was a kid, before Allen Street was put in, and before the Interstate 95 was put in. We used to walk through the woods all the time. My father would always point to that foundation and say, that's where Jonathan Jesse lived. But I don't think he knew who Jonathan Jesse was. I think it was something his grandfather had told him. So when I got Helen's diary, I called my father. I said, hey, I know who Jonathan Jesse is now. But I just thought it would be nice to add the information at the foundation. We've ordered a stanchion. If you've ever been to Mystic River Park, they have the different things there that explain things. That's what we're putting one for the Cottrell Lumber Company down there. But we wanted to put one about Jonathan Jesse Wheeler at the site. So when people were walking through the Pequot Woods, they can know who he is. We did research on him. And then we took the excerpt from Helen's diary where she describes who he is, and it's a walk through the woods on September 25th, 1920, when she was there with her Sunday school class, and they went out to Jonathan Jesse's house and had a picnic. But what I like about it is that it not only tells who lived there, but it gives an idea that for generations, people have been walking in the Pequot Woods. So,
Was he alive when she was walking there?
no, he died. We had to research him. He was born in 1822, and he was a hermit. He lived in the woods. He lived out yeah. And I think Helen describes that the house burned at some point. I think it burned in 1890 because his obituary, which I found in the day, which was in 1902, he died when he was 80 years old. And he lived at the Spicer Poor Farm. So he lost everything when the house burned. So he spent the last 12 years of his life at the Poor Farm. So that makes me think that the house burned in 1890, where surmises some of it. So, and he's buried in Lower Mystic Cemetery. Wheeler is an old Mystic name. So he comes from a good family. I don't know what his issue was, but he lived in the woods. So that's a sprawling family.
Nature.
So that's where we are.
So I brought it to all of you for discussion.
It's all going to be controlled and approved by the Pequot Board of Commissioners or whatever it is. They really have oversight of it.
And we have discussed it at the last meeting.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
So I guess, I wasn't quite sure where you were proposing to put the sign. You were,
Well, we wanted to put it where the foundation is.
right,
It's in the general vicinity of the foundation, but closer to the train.
Yeah.
right, okay.
So,
So instead of at the entrance, let's say in Sandy Hollow,
yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's-
instead of just being information, They're actually gonna
Inside.
put it,
Yeah,
right, in the clearing. That's right.
and it's gonna be one stanchion. The one that we're putting in the Mystic River Park has two. One for the Cottrell Lumber Company,
Sorry.
so. Yeah, so that's it. And we've ordered it and it's in production, so we should have it hopefully by the end of April.
Be a good addition.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Anytime. It's interesting. to list it all.
Yes. So you guys are picking the historical society, picking up the tab on this?
Yes, we are, but you guys have to install it.
You say the town's gonna
Yes,
install
I'll
it.
install it
Town
in-
park.
He promised me. I talked to him last year.
And speaking of install, I didn't make one, I'm not making a huge deal out of this because it should have been done already, but we're putting in posts at Sassacus and put in some BB for signage. So if you see new posts up, that's what's gonna be.
That's
That's
how
all.
you pronounce that? Sassacus? Every single time I look at it, I just go, that. Is that called Sassacus?
Yes, we actually had a fort on the top of Fort Hill, and we were thinking of naming one of our properties that's closer to it, but the name was already taken, down in the city.
Well, it's out of town, huh?
Oh, so, yeah, but down, far away, yeah.
It's close.
On the line.
Try some trail.
Sunshine Trail, yes, we, haven't really done any new information. We're still trying to get, our recreational trails grant recontracted. Still dealing with the state on that through the, Ledger Parks and Rec. The only other item we have is that we did sign up and we will be hosting part of Connecticut Trails Day on Saturday, the 6th of June, 8 o'clock at Bluff Point.
Oh, we gotta talk, we gotta.
Is that more
It's
fun?
on the agenda, it's on the agenda.
Yes, okay, good.
So that's what I'm saying. Wanted, our board is out there too. We can have multiple things out, depending on what time it is. That's why we went for 8 o'clock.
Right. Okay, so since we're talking about that, I was welcoming Go Groton because they were supposed to come, but I think something else had happened, so maybe they'll come in. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay, just real quick, just because I think it's good with the reports. So you guys remember Eric Gilo was the park manager at Bluff? He is no longer the park manager. It's okay. He has gone into a new position, which is overseeing Bluff and the entire Eastern District of Connecticut. We're okay with that.
So 18 parks he now has.
I know. I'm like, what are you doing yourself? But if you remember Brian or have ever met Brian Flaherty, he was the park manager over at Rocky Neck. He has now taken Eric's position, so he's overseeing Bluff, Haley, Fort Griswold, and Fort Trumbull, and then some of the wildlife management areas.
And Brian was the Parks and Rec director in Waterford.
Oh, yeah, before he went to Rocky Neck. I think he, I went and had a meeting with him the other day. Rocky Neck State Park is a beast to manage, I think.
Over that building?
Yes,
Yeah.
and also the campers, and I think it's just a lot, so I think he's excited for a little change. But he's been very responsive and very enthusiastic, so I think it's a good thing. The other thing I wanted to tell you all that I think you might be excited about is that, so you know, we did that resilience plan. So during that process, we talked about how lots of different folks at Deep manage Bluff Point State Park and Coastal Reserve and Natural Area Preserve. One thing that came out of that plan was that that area really needs a management plan. And so we actually just had a call, yesterday or the day before with, oh gosh, I'm forgetting the name of it. Tabitha, look, I can't remember either. Anyway, but it's a group that does, the Community Foundation. It's a group that takes, different folks that want to donate and puts all their funds together.
Foundation of Southeast.
Nah, it's not that one. Tripp Killen is in charge of it. Anyway, he is willing to give someone, I think us, a little money to put together, start the conversation of having a management plan developed. So I just mentioned that because
we've been having a couple of conversations with, the folks at Deep, that Mike Lambert, who's in charge of the Bureau of Outdoor Resources or Recreation, Outdoor Recreation, and then, Justin Davis, who's in charge of, the Natural Resources, Bureau of Natural Resources. They pulled all these people together to start talking about management plan. During that call that I was facilitating, there was a lot of talk about the trails and the authorized and unauthorized trails. Lots of talk about that. Wildlife versus pretty much Kim Bradley. So wildlife versus recreation. But it just really showed that they need a management plan for that area, and everybody needs to like just really figure out some common goals and get it down on paper, and have some conversations. So I just mentioned that because of that trails connection. And then the last thing I'll just say about Bluff is that, we did that resilience, strategy or plan, and we identified some projects that we wanted to move forward with to help with the flooding, especially. We have put in one big proposal to, help with the culverts, and we're putting in another one that pretty much will help with the flooding in the parking lot. But I will say, just related, not to be a downer, but related to federal funding, both of those are federally funded, as are we at the Connecticut Reserve. So, everything is pretty much up in the air with those, but we do have some really solid proposals. So at least
Your shovel.
maybe we're shovel ready. But anyway, just wanted to mention those things, just, in case you guys need to contact Brian or anything like that, just so you kind of an update on those two.
I could throw out, if you're involved in the management plan, might be to encourage them to look at Big River in Rhode Island.
Okay.
Because basically, there's a big river runs through it. One side has all the trails in the world, everybody goes there, and the other side is for the wildlife. And nobody,
Yeah.
there is no conflict because there's no trying to both use the same stuff at the same time.
I mean, even just marking the trails that they want people to stay on and want people to stay on, even something is, so they know they have some problems.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that we can get funding to just help
Closing
them.
all the trails.
Yeah,
If
no,
they can
no way.
pick areas,
Yes.
and just say, that's it, but on the other hand, let's help you. Like the market and take care, and
Yes.
There's also, do they have a plan for the railroad area?
Oh, well, funny you're asking about that. Tomorrow, we're actually, I'm hosting an event with actually Janet, Joe, who you met, who you introduced me to. We had 55 people. So I added a second walk the same day and still have 50 people on the waiting list, which I'm like, sorry. Well, but Joe Burrell, I think is how you pronounce his last name, is a self-taught historian, and he's gonna do a walk on Midway Yard. But we did have a conversation with SHPO, the State Historic and Preservation Office, and they are very supportive of opening up that space so it really can be celebrated, whatever that looks like. Yeah, because they said, so there's, if you're not familiar, Midway Yard is in, it's kind of behind the porta potties at Bluff.
it was huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's big turn.
Yes,
Yeah,
as a
and
turn,
then-
and there's some foundations and like a turntable that's
Is
still.
that all
Yeah,
around?
and
Yes.
The trenches from under.
Yes, yes, yeah, but you have to see it now, and it's hard to find if you don't know what you're looking for, because in the summertime, it's just totally overgrown and you'll be carried off by mosquitoes. But anyway, SHPO was really supportive, and they said that they would love for that place to be celebrated. It's on the state historical preservation list, so it's protected.
So
So,
not careful.
yes, yeah, I mean, it's hidden, I guess maybe that's.
That's right.
good.
I know.
Since my grandson was about that tall, I mean, he'd come back with pockets full of coal.
Yes, they have so much on the trails back there. It is funny, I put an old historic photo on the flyer, and then like people were like, I can't, I'm bringing my kids so we can see the trains. I'm like, no, no trains. Like rubble and cement.
Oh, yeah, and rusty nails. and-
Yes, I sent out an email to,
There was
set
a conflict,
expectations.
the Connecticut Land Conservation Council conference is the same day.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's
So-
okay. We didn't need any more people.
Well, but I'm suggesting that you.
Yes, look for the.
Popular, keep doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I know, I might ask Joe about that, because, yeah, people were very excited, so that's good. Good. Yeah, thank you. I would have touched earlier. Oh, no worries. So last thing was upcoming trail event. And there's a page. Yeah, what is it?
With the Connecticut trails there.
So some upcoming events, we have a Groton litter cleanup, which I know Carissa's all over, and Tom. Tom's definitely all over.
You're the man.
Birch Plain Creek Wildlife Area on April 11th. You guys want to talk about that a little?
Well, this is through the ECCD. They've been working on the Birch Plain Creek, have a master plan for the last almost 15 years now. One of the things that was in there was working originally with GOSA and now with the Town Conservation Commission had to do, cleanup efforts along the various
Well, and
tributaries.
backwaters
Yeah,
involved
well,
too.
right.
Yeah.
That's the whole ECCD back.
Yeah.
It's, terminology for it. But so over the last 3 years, we've been building a cadre of people to get a spring cleanup done. And that's originally was with the Connecticut College students. Last year, we brought in NER. This year, we're bringing in the Mystic Aquarium. So, this College students are out, but we've got the UConn Avery Point people. So we've got a bunch of local other groups already assisting, and Andre Baumgartner's been advertising it in his things, and so it's getting quite a very
Yeah,
big
kayaks,
demand.
kayaks too.
Well, I haven't lined up kayaks per se. There is stuff in the water, so we're bringing waders and stuff. We've got some
Yeah.
waders lined up between NER and Mystic Aquarium. So again, their stuff is in the water, but it
Yeah,
looks
and-
like it's all right by the shore because couldn't throw it that far. It
Right.
hasn't gotten washed away.
Oh, Ann Pearson is an expert at getting tires out
Yeah,
of the
well-
water
Well,
without tipping over her
We've been
kayak.
fairly
Yeah.
successful with,
Yeah.
sorry, we do a survey, typically more in the summertime to take a look at what's available and stuff. And most of that stuff over the last 2 years, has been cleaned out.
Okay.
So we're not dealing, we're mostly concerned about stuff getting washed down from all these housing developments. It's really bad. I've already done a walk around right now. There's particularly bad at Brampton and also at Groton Estates. Those two areas have just got in it. We cleaned all those up last year. They are just total dumpsters right now.
Well, is there pipe
Stuff
that
that-
comes down?
Well,
No, it's just
Usually a dumpster.
literally dumpsters coming out of the dumpster.
Oh, okay.
Right into the creek, okay? That's where we're trying to get that stuff cleaned up before it gets into the creek.
Right, well, there's also been dumpsters up by the EV parking lot over.
Well, that's another area we've been working on slowly but
Yeah.
surely each year, each year we do a little bit, there's gonna be a team there. This year, we're now gonna be on, we were at Sparkle Lake last year. And we got permission to go up connect across the property, the Ackley property to do walk. There is some stuff, not too bad there, but there is some stuff at the southern end of Joel property that we need to get cleaned up also. When we had the encampment on the Joel property, there's a trail there that's kind of still, you can walk it. But that one got fairly well cleaned up by the town when they evicted everybody out there. But they didn't go all the way to the end of the property. So there's a section there that we'll be looking at. To have on the Joel property, across the Ackley property, and bring all that stuff down to Sparkle Lake. Sparkle Lake is not too bad. There is some sections up on the northern part that where they just put through the new trail area needs somewhere, which we've never looked at really on that part.
There had been old encampments.
Yeah, so.
One exciting thing too is, last year when we held Tom, we saw all the trash coming out from Branford Manor. I was like, next year we need to get those
Get
people.
the residents involved.
Yes, so, yeah, so luckily the town of Groton is doing the spring fair the week before at Branford Manor. So we're gonna have them advertise. We'll see
Our cleanup is on a Friday, which we have enough, right now we have enough volunteers. I think we're in good,
Yeah, we're in
good
good shape.
shape.
Yeah.
But
But
anyway,
it's nice to involve them.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yes,
We're trying different days, sometimes Saturdays,
Yes.
sometimes.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We did Tuesday last year, I guess, or the Wednesday last year, this
Yeah.
year we're trying Friday.
I didn't see that Tamara was on
Oh, her hand's up.
camera, sorry. Camera.
Hey, hi Tabitha. Hi everyone.
How's
Can
your
you all
hand
hear
been
me?
raised? Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, my interns aren't with me because they reached their maximum hours for the week. They only can work 6 hours a week. But I am here and I can represent Go Groton and answer and ask any questions need be.
Well, maybe you can just give us a little intro to what Go Groton is, because I'm not sure everybody is on the same page, so.
Yes. So Go Groton is a national initiative with Children Nature Network, Boom, and a couple other partners. We also partner with GOSA. And our goal is to get children under the age of 18 out equitably, outside and outdoors in Groton, whether that means, adding things to schools or programs outside of schools, seeing what programs already exist and what modifications need to be put in place so that children can get outside equitably all year round, and all under the age of 18. That's kind of our goal, our overall goal. And right now we are in the stages where we are gathering information, we're doing surveys, and our direction that we're leaning towards more so than one or the other is green schoolyards, because it seems like the schools having more green space, having places where kids can grow food. We're working really closely with the Farm to School initiative. So with Ernie Koschemeyer and Bill, we are helping them start the greenhouse. So that's what my interns spent their hours doing this week and these past couple of weeks. Is they have a hydroponic system going on in the Farm to School greenhouse behind Board of Ed. And so we kind of have a lot of fingers in different pots, but our overall goal is to get our youth outdoors and, find out what they want to do. So my interns' jobs are to figure out what it is that their peers want to do. So they're questioning their peers. We just got back from Groton Middle School, questioning them, having them do a survey, figuring out what do middle school kids want to do. Do they want recess? Do they want to be outside? And that's kind of the overall goal of what Go Groton is. And it's in phase 2, I would say right now. Phase 3 will be at the end of this year, where we will ask for a grant to help us build whatever the town decides we need in terms of infrastructure or transportation, whatever the town decides we do need in order to get kids outdoors.
Oh, good. I don't know if you were on earlier, Tamara, but Matt was saying that kids could get involved in our upcoming trail building project. So maybe we'll all have to circle back on that. Did you hear me? Hello? Did I lose her?
I look closer.
Yeah, we would love to have that
Oh.
happen. I know my interns are in the. Can you still hear me?
It's just a little breaking up.
I'm still. Oh, it's breaking up. Okay. Let me switch to my headphones. Apologies. Okay, can we hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay.
So it'd be great to get the kids involved in more projects, volunteering on the trails.
Yeah, send me any information. Like I said, my interns can only do 6 hours a week, but I have a junior and a senior, so they have access to their peers way more than we do as adults. And so I think one of them's on the environmental club, so that would be a really great connection to be able to make.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tamara.
Yes, thank you for having me here.
All right, we're gonna move on to that. We can finish up here. Does anyone have any other questions for Dana? So the next one on here was a Groton Earth Day Expo, and I'm sure the Groton will be at the Earth Day Expo. That's April 26th at 5:55. So that's also with vendors. Is anyone here going to attend that?
I think Ghost is gonna be there. I'm not, I'm gonna be away. Have you heard any talk of it?
I'm sure board meeting tonight.
Well, yeah, we have a board meeting tonight, so it'll come out.
So that's another event. And then the last one was one we just were talking about, was National Trails Day. And so this is a weekend. June 7th is the day, but it's really a weekend. Or 8 days.
Yeah, Saturday or Sunday.
I met with one of the program coordinators here at Thrive about doing town walks, talking about doing an easy one like at Sparkle, moderate one at BB, and then a more advanced one at Sassacus, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That was just our initial thoughts, and I wanted to bring it to this group because I really wanted to do your own walks and we already spoke about one. So we can partner on them and everything's still there.
We used to do the Batan Death March, you know, the crosstown trail. Yeah, right. And Parks and Rec would help with the buses. Yeah,
Okay.
transporting one end to another.
Yeah.
Yeah, we either everyone would either start at Bluff Point and we send a bus over to Land's End, which is at 250.
So we,
Yeah.
usually Avalonia goes on the town. We haven't done it in a while.
No, it's
Yeah,
been,
Cindy said that it's been a little bit.
yeah, it's been.
Pre-COVID.
5, 6,
Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah,
It feels like pre-COVID.
Yeah,
And
it might
we
be fun
used
to bring it
bridge-
back again.
It was before the bridge was installed too.
What's
Oh,
that?
yeah.
It was before the bridge.
We
was
get the new
installed.
bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bridge.
We're finally gonna see stuff, yeah.
Right.
Pretty amazing.
That's a bridge.
That's a bridge.
Opposed to all the logs nailed sort of.
Yeah,
Yes.
very high up for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Oh,
Can I ask then, who is doing one? Because Tom, the reason I was like, oh, because, Megan Granado and I are planning an activity with Go Groton at Bluff, and we had picked Sunday because we heard that GOSA had a walk at 1 o'clock that was gonna start at Bluff. So we were gonna do a family-friendly
maybe
walks
Dan
and
knew.
scavenger hunt. So if that's not the case, then we can switch and do something for families on Saturday. But I guess I'm just
Yeah.
wondering,
You may have more information than I do. I think
Oh.
Dan or something.
Yeah.
is planning.
yeah,
We'll find out tonight.
okay, could you?
And maybe we'll have him contact you and come, collaborate maybe.
Yeah, well, because I was wondering, because one thing Megan, we were thinking about doing is have one flyer if things are at Bluff and we just advertise them all together, if you guys wanted to.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's a great
We,
idea.
we, right now, only thing we've done is we just wanted to sign up because.
Yes.
We have from our perspective as a Tri-Town Trail,
Yeah.
strategically, we want to get a better presence in Groton.
Yeah.
As we start our things to do, we got a long-term plan here, working with Groton Utilities and stuff. One thing is increase our presence down here.
Yeah,
and stuff.
that's
So this
great.
is all part of it.
That's
I
great.
kind of like that idea of having one central place and Bluff Point is central to the whole trail system. And having you go up.
That's
so
cool.
Matt, did you
But
measure
we
your?
were thinking, the reason.
I
we were
did.
It was because the, walk that Dan had mentioned was like a longer walk, is what he had mentioned to Megan, so. We were thinking, well, kids aren't gonna be able to do that, so let's do something that's a little bit easier for families.
And that's
And-
what we were talking.
Yeah, so if,
Well, talk
Yeah,
together,
we're
so
just
you're not
trying to-
duplicating anything.
Well, that's
But
why
you
we were
guys are
thinking
going
of
different
Sparkle, because we were
sites.
thinking of sites that were less
Yes.
used before.
The only
I
reason-
like that.
yeah.
Um,
The reason we went with 8 o'clock in the morning is
Yeah.
because we had very good success last year at COT at that
Yeah.
time.
great time.
Because we did have a core group of people that really want to get out first, and
Yes.
we got a lot of great support from the Connecticut Forest and Park Association at that hike, and so that's coming, we're using the same time frame.
Yeah.
Down in Bluff this year.
Well, maybe, because it sounds like there's potential to have lots of other walks at lots of other places, but maybe what I'll do is, Tom, maybe I'll have you, maybe Dan,
Yeah.
and Megan and me, and just put us on an email, just in case you want to advertise, because we might as well try to coordinate if it makes sense.
For Bluff.
Yes, for Bluff only.
And then we'll have town walk.
Or we can advertise them all together.
I mean, it feels like we should advertise them all.
Yeah, I love that.
But
Mr. River Historical Society is gonna lead a walk through the people of woods. We did it last year. We're gonna do it again this year.
Oh my gosh, so many options.
we can start an email and,
Yes, I love it. And maybe also in our email, oh, I see Matt hasn't seen them too. In our email, just put who your, if you, maybe like who your target audience is, like if it's gonna be a longer walk and it needs, because then we could even rank them like, you know, family friendly, easy, moderate.
Yeah, that's
challenging.
what I'm
Anything planning on doing bluff to sheep farm?
I think,
Bus is picking up a sheep farm.
Oh, okay, so that's a segment of the cross-town.
Yeah.
right, yeah, that'd be cool.
And then
Yeah.
It would be cool too, sorry, I'm kind of geeking out, but it would be, this might be a good opportunity to also show some sort of like trail system, like almost advertise like the website that has the trails or whatever. Just get the word out so people can see, okay, I always go to Bluff, but look, there's all these other options.
Matt.
Thank you. Let me lower the hand so I don't forget. With regard the Earth Expo, I understood you to have said April 26th, which my audio is not so good, which I'm presuming is a Saturday.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so has anybody considered inviting through the superintendent of course, the various school principals to see if they have any kids who already have projects done and completed that they might want to exhibit at the Earth Day Festival for Expo. For example, the middle years program has when you get in the middle years program, you pick what do they call it, a capstone project, which you present once you're in high school. They're being presented, I think, in late April or early May, but these kids have been working on the projects for a couple of years. Some of them, I've been to some in past years. There's some stuff that's totally irrelevant to the expo, and there's other stuff that's absolutely on target. So if you like the idea of having some of our youth present, I cannot promise for somebody else. Administration is in charge of administration, but I'd be glad to pass on the word at the board meeting this coming Monday if there is any interest, or just invite you to contact the various principals or superintendent. If you do contact a principal, please carbon the superintendent because she's in charge.
I would guess that Megan Granato, our sustainability manager for the town, would be the contact for the Earth Day Expo. So whomever it is that you find for a contact, I would connect them with her.
Megan, and her last name?
And from the Diddy.
Yeah, the Diddy bag person as well with the library.
What is Megan's last name, Tabitha?
No contact Megan.
Renata.
But I think Megan is involved.
She's involved because she's gonna table, but she's not the lead on it.
Who's the lead on it?
It's Jason from the Diddy Bag and then the library.
Oh,
Okay.
So the Groton Public Library, right? That's,
yeah.
they're the ones who'll be doing the advertising.
Jason's the one that's coordinating all the event people.
Okay.
And the vendors and
And there's a regular group that's handling this as far as the invitations and where everybody's gonna be and how much space they have and all that type of stuff.
Right.
They've been working on this for months already. We're just at the end of it. Passing
I'm just
information
passing
on.
on the information, honestly, I have nothing to do with it.
Do you have Megan's last name?
Well, unfortunately, she's the wrong contact. You don't want to talk to her.
Oh,
The library. the people at the
Well, go to the library. Yeah, talk to the
Jen,
library.
is Jen at the
Yeah,
library?
Jen at the library.
she'll get her contact.
Okay,
Is it being held at Thrive or the library? Because it says active living center, and this is joint vendors at the Groton Public Library.
Oh, then it's the library. That's wrong.
I had checked.
Okay, that brings us to our next meeting, which is June 20th. Should be on everyone's calendar. Can I get a vote to adjourn?
So what?
Second.
We don't want to be here forever.
That relates to me.
We have children to grow.
Yeah, apparently, I mean.
Well,
And
5:30.
Yeah.
No, it's also me.
That's good, you guys have them.
So you have a lot of these.
I gotta go check out that.
Y'all have a blessed day. See you later.
Associated
That
with.
should-
Oh, let's see, so-